power doesn't belong to the smartest, the kindest, or the hardest working. It belongs to those who understand the dark psychology of human nature. That's why weaker men command respect, and why less capable men rise above you. 500 years ago, Niccolò Machiavelli uncovered the mechanics of this brutal game. Living in an age of betrayal and political warfare, he revealed why good men finish last while ruthless strategists rule the world. His insights became the blueprint for power that leaders, rulers, and manipulators have used ever since. In this video, you'll discover 8 Machiavellian principles that will shift you from overlooked and underestimated to dangerously confident, untouchable, and impossible to ignore. Principle 1. Fairness is a weapon against you. The first brutal truth is simple: fairness is not real. It's a story designed to keep people obedient, compliant, and weak. Every time someone waits for fair treatment, another person is already taking what they want. Every time rules are followed, others are rewriting them for their own advantage. Every time reciprocity is expected, manipulators exploit that predictable hope. Conditioning has taught that fairness equals nobility. In reality, fairness turns a person into prey. Look around. Respect is often given to those who never return it, help is offered to people who never reciprocate, and patience is shown to those who cut the line. This is not bad luck, it is the psychology of losing. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Men should either be treated generously or destroyed, because they take revenge for slight injuries. For heavy ones, they cannot. The lesson is not about physical violence, it is about psychological warfare. Small wounds invite revenge. Complete domination eliminates it. The mistake most people make is relying on half measures. They push back weakly against strong personalities, set soft boundaries with the aggressive, or try reasoning with those driven only by self-interest. The result is disastrous. Weakness is exposed, while new enemies are created who now see a target to defeat. True psychological dominance looks different. Disrespect is not debated, it is punished with immediate and severe social consequences. Negotiation with the disrespectful is not an option. Convincing others to treat you well is unnecessary, because the situation is engineered so that respecting you is in their self-interest, and disrespecting you costs them something they value. Fairness with the unfair is submission. Strategy with the unfair is power. Principle 2. Ruthlessness means emotional discipline. Ruthlessness is often misunderstood. Most assume it means anger, aggression, or losing control. In truth, real ruthlessness is the opposite. It is cold, calculated emotional discipline. The ruthless do not lash out, they plan. They do not react, they respond with precision. Their choices are not fueled by wounded feelings, but by a logical assessment of what strengthens their position. Emotionally reactive people never hold lasting influence. They are predictable, and predictability makes them manipulable. Anyone who knows which buttons to push can control them. Every outburst, every defensive argument, every loss of composure is a surrender of power. The psychologically dominant operate differently. They treat emotions as information, not instructions. Anger, frustration, or disappointment may be felt, but never allowed to dictate action. Consider a public insult or an attempt to damage reputation. The reactive person argues, defends, and looks weaker for it, validating the attacker. The disciplined one evaluates, then chooses the response that causes maximum damage to the opponent's standing while elevating their own. Sometimes this means ignoring the attack completely, signaling that the offender is beneath notice. Sometimes it means a cold, factual correction that exposes foolishness. Sometimes it is simply composure itself that demonstrates superiority. The key is choice, not impulse. Machiavelli warned, injuries should be inflicted all at once, so that their savor being less lasting may give less offense. In psychological terms, retaliation must be decisive, not drawn out. A single calculated strike ends conflict more effectively than endless emotional sparring. The most powerful individuals rarely raise their voices. They rarely show temper. Their sovereignty over their own emotions is what commands respect. They decide when to engage, how to respond, and what outcome to produce. While others lose themselves in reactive drama, the disciplined remain untouchable. Mastering emotional control is not just self-mastery, it is the foundation of psychological power. Principle 3. Dominance outweighs likability. This principle destroys people-pleasing illusions. Being respected is infinitely more valuable than being liked. Liking invites carelessness. Those who are merely liked often become targets of inconsiderate behavior, because others assume forgiveness will follow. Respect, however, enforces restraint. Those who respect psychological strength hesitate before crossing it, because they know consequences will follow. Likable people are safe, predictable, and easy to exploit. Dominant people are dangerous, and therefore treated with caution. Everyone understands they can and will defend their interests. Consider any social group, the one with the strongest presence commands more respect than the one who is simply nice. Approval gravitates not to agreement, but to authority. Machiavelli was blunt. It is much safer to be feared than loved, if one has to lack one of the two. This is not a call to tyranny, but to formidability. It means cultivating a reputation for fairness combined with unshakable strength, so that disrespect is never an option without a cost. The difference appears in behavior. Likable people say yes out of fear of disappointing others. Dominant people say no without guilt, because self-interest is their priority. Likable people tolerate disrespect, hoping it will fade. Dominant people confront it instantly and decisively. Likable people chase inclusion. Dominant people are selective about where their presence matters. Likable people explain themselves. Dominant people expect others to adapt. The shift from likability to dominance changes everything. The question ceases to be, will they like me if I do this? It becomes, will this action strengthen or weaken my position? Instead of striving to make everyone comfortable, one becomes comfortable with others' discomfort when it serves higher interests. Instead of chasing approval, one becomes the source of approval that others seek. This is not aggression, it is sovereignty. Respect must be earned from you, not extracted freely. Build dominance by demonstrating unshakable standards and firm boundaries. Make others compete for your approval, not the other way around. Principle 4. Decisive action builds superiority. Influence collapses when actions are weak and repetitive. Those who constantly threaten consequences but never deliver train others to ignore them. Empty warnings, nagging, and pleading destroy credibility, branding the speaker as all bark and no bite. Once that reputation is established, complaints lose power and are dismissed without thought. The psychologically dominant follow a different path. They issue fewer warnings, but when they act, the action is decisive, memorable, and impossible to ignore. Machiavelli made it clear. If an injury has to be done to a man, it should be so severe that his vengeance need not be feared. Translated into psychological terms, this means, when demonstrating power, the response must be clear, final, and strong enough that no one dares test it again. Consider the pattern of disrespect, a voice that interrupts, an opinion dismissed, a joke made at another's expense. The weak response is to plead, complain, or hope for change. This only reinforces the offender's dominance, proving they can affect emotions without consequence. The dominant response is different. Document the behavior, then act once with disproportionate strength compared to any single slight, but proportionate to the overall pattern. publicly exposing the behavior, cutting access to valued circles, or turning others against it creates impact that lingers. This approach resonates beyond conflict. Instead of endlessly trying to prove worth, true influence is established by rare but powerful demonstrations that no one forgets. Instead of constant availability, selective absence teaches others they need you more than you need them. Instead of arguing repeatedly, a single undeniable act settles the matter. Decisive action builds a reputation of force rather than empty words. Fewer threats, fewer warnings, but absolute follow-through. Principle 5. Perception shapes reality. The most sophisticated form of influence is not about who someone is, but about how others perceive them. Objective reality is secondary to perception, because human psychology does not investigate deeply, it judges quickly, based on signals and social proof. Those who fail to manage perception surrender it to others, often to their enemies. Machiavelli summarized it clearly. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. For most of the world, appearance is reality. Reputation becomes power. Perceived value is treated as actual value. The psychologically sophisticated take control of this process. They shape the story before others can write it. They highlight successes and downplay failures. They associate with high-value people and activities, borrowing credibility through proximity. They maintain mystery, allowing others to project favorable assumptions. And above all, they project confidence even when uncertain, because confidence attracts, while hesitation repels. Perception is not confined to words, it lives in presence. Body language, tone of voice, clothing, posture, and eye contact all broadcast value before a single word is spoken. Confident entry into a room signals importance, slouched posture and weak delivery signal irrelevance. People treat others according to the training they receive in these moments. Perception management in practice means controlling the stories told, curating associations, and choosing what to reveal and what to conceal. Those who neglect this task remain invisible, those who master it become impossible to overlook. Reputation is the most valuable asset. It must be protected, cultivated, and leveraged with precision, because perception, once established, becomes reality. Principle 6. Narrative control is warfare. The highest form of power is not only determining what happens, but also shaping how events are interpreted and remembered. Every action can be cast in multiple lights: leadership or arrogance, confidence or selfishness, strength or aggression. The one who frames the story dictates the meaning. Most people obsess over their actions but ignore the narrative surrounding those actions. This is a fatal mistake. In human psychology, the story often matters more than the facts. In conflict, the version told first and most persuasively usually wins public opinion, regardless of truth. Machiavelli warned, "Men in general judge more from appearances than from reality." People rarely investigate deeply, they believe the simplified story delivered by trusted voices. Whoever shapes that story dictates belief. This principle requires mastering the art of framing. Success must be presented as the result of foresight and discipline. Failures must be reframed as lessons in resilience. Attacks must be turned into proof of an opponent's jealousy, weakness, or insecurity. Consider the end of a toxic friendship. Left uncontrolled, the narrative might paint the action as selfishness. Framed strategically, it becomes setting boundaries against disrespect and protecting mental health. The same action, but two radically different perceptions. Advanced narrative control anticipates interpretations before they form. Every move must be considered not only for what it is, but for how it will be described. The story is the battlefield. Shape it, or be shaped by it. Principle 7. Systems create authority. The most durable authority does not depend on emotion, threats, or manipulation. It rests on systems, predictable structures where behavior automatically produces consequences. Systems cannot be argued with, negotiated, or manipulated as emotions can. They make authority impersonal, consistent, and unchallengeable. When authority is based on anger or threats, power rests in the hands of others. They can trigger reactions, provoke outbursts, or exploit emotional volatility. But when systems rule, where respect brings access and disrespect brings exclusion, control remains absolute. Machiavelli advised, "A wise ruler should rely on what is in his own control, not on what is in the control of others." Systems ensure that control stays internal, not external. In practice, this means, when time is disrespected, access is quietly withdrawn. When generosity is abused, it is redirected toward those who value it. When boundaries are ignored, natural consequences replace emotional arguments. Picture unreliable friends who cancel plans or arrive late. The emotional approach is frustration, complaints, and guilt trips. The systematic approach is simple: only those who confirm and show reliability are included. The rest exclude themselves by default. Authority rooted in systems is self-sustaining. It requires no endless reminders, no policing, no escalation. The consequences teach the lesson, silently but effectively. Systems turn boundaries into reality, and reality into power. Principle 8: Silent dominance is the highest power. The final and most crucial lesson is this: true psychological dominance operates in silence. Those who constantly declare how ruthless, smart, or powerful they are reveal weakness, not strength. They advertise what they wish they possessed, not what they truly control. Real power does not announce itself. Real influence works quietly, shaping outcomes behind the scenes. Real dominance is not declared, it is felt. The most dangerous figure in any room is rarely the loudest, but the one who watches while others perform, calculates while others react, and positions while others posture. Machiavelli captured this duality with precision. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. In practice, this means combining cunning with force, and shifting between the two seamlessly, without exposing strategy. Competitors should not see moves until it is too late to counter them. Allies should not realize how they are being positioned until they are already benefiting. Enemies should not recognize the source of their collapse until their influence has already disappeared. Silent dominance manifests in subtle but decisive ways. Influence is built without announcing ambition. Strategies are deployed without being visible. Information is gathered while almost nothing is revealed in return. Alliances are formed without competitors recognizing the design. Opponents are undermined without realizing where the decline began. This is not deception, it is discretion. It is the understanding that concealed strategy holds more force than exposed plans. When power is silent, others experience its weight without comprehending its origin. Influence feels natural, inevitable, and unchallengeable, because it arrives without warning and without noise. Silent dominance is the crown of psychological mastery, the ability to control without noise, to command without pleading for recognition, and to win without ever showing your hand. Here's the final truth: the world will not wait for you. If you don't master the dark psychology of human influence, someone who already has will control your life. This is not theory. This is psychological warfare unfolding every single day. Even now, while you've been listening, manipulators are exploiting those who cling to fairness. Strategists are positioning themselves above those who still believe good intentions matter more than power. The brutal choice is simple: either learn to use psychological influence, or remain the one who gets influenced and used. You've been conditioned to think that learning these principles makes you bad. That belief is the trap. It keeps you naive, predictable, and easy to manipulate, while the truly dominant move with ruthless clarity. Every day you delay, someone more strategic takes the influence and respect you want. Every day you choose nice over formidable, you arm others with the very ammunition they'll use against you. The world doesn't reward innocence, it rewards power. It doesn't need more compliant nice guys who finish last. It needs those who understand the mechanics of influence and use them to build lives of unshakable confidence and undeniable presence. So stop hesitating and start dominating. The choice is yours. But choose fast, because while you're deciding whether to become psychologically dangerous, dangerous people are already deciding what to do with you. If these truths open your eyes, go deeper. Watch the full playlist Machiavelli on Power is Design, where every lesson takes you further into the strategies of those who rule, manipulate, and command respect.